Oh, we're live. Okay. Hello everybody. Welcome to episode number 79 of Chilling3000 Hangouts. And it's been a bit, sort of. And today I have.
It is I, the legend that you know as my mixed psychopath, and welcome to the Psych Ward, where I turn your dreams into your very worst nightmares.
Yes. And I'm going to give credit to Ben for this idea because my idea was to interview everybody on the Bozos crew. And I thought, no, that's a good idea for Ben's. Credit to him. So shout out to him. And this interview is for him and everybody to enjoy here today. So, how you doing, Mike?
Not too much. How are you doing, David?
Doing well. And I do have a lot of questions here listed for this interview.
Nice.
Um, so tell us, everybody about yourself.
What can I say? Music is life. Music is everything. Music is the air that I breathe. Without music, I will not be here today. I'm Mike Wilson. I am 36 years old, born in Ontario, now in Newfoundland, and basically, I am a psychopath. That is my
Yeah,
character. That is my shtick, and I've been doing this for the past couple of years.
very nice. Um, so I guess uh question here is, how did YouTube start for you?
YouTube started for me. Well. October 26th, nearly 15 years ago, 2007, is when I created my channel that was known as Mike McRock, now known as Mike Wilson.
Uh, and you had a video on there that has how many views?
It's it's close to a million. It's almost there. It's probably at 980 something thousand, somewhere
That,
around there.
that's actually kind of crazy.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
Like, what made you want to do that video?
Uh, because it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was a match between Bully Ray and Jeff Hardy in a ladder match, and they had the ladder in position where Bully Ray's region area is, and Jeff Hardy rams right into it, and then Bully Ray goes, "Taz, my balls!" And that's the name of the video. That's got a lot of views, close to a million.
Yeah, that is that is crazy to think that you almost have a million views on a video
I know.
like out of nowhere, and you don't really use that channel anymore. And what made you decide to make your main psychopath channel?
Well, I do still use it. I just never uploaded anything in a long time. Now, as far as the Mike McRock, now known as Mike McPsychopath, the Legend channel, I started that. It was around 2013
Hmm,
or 2014, somewhere around there. And I was doing movie reviews on there, and then that later turned into Bozos on the Sofa's highlight reels slash Flicks with the Dicks highlight reels.
very cool. Um, how speaking of that, so how did you get into the network community?
How did I get into the network community? It all started on a Thursday,
Kind of
August
funny.
30th, 2018, where I saw Austin Putnam do a live show, and he was going over his movie stubs. One of them was the movie Mother, and we all know about that one. And I saw these two guys that Austin had on his channel, Jerome and Gary. That's where I met Jerome and Gary.
Hmm.
And the rest is history.
without Austin, you probably will might have not met them. And
Thing about that, without Sean Chandler, I wouldn't have met Austin Putnam.
who is he?
Sean Chandler is the first. He is essentially the first person, well, first movie reviewer that I met,
Oh,
like in person. He commented on one of my movie reviews back in 2016 and said, "Hey, sub for sub, I'm starting my movie review channel." Just like you are, and why not share for share and do stuff like that. I checked out his channel, and it's amazing how much Sean Chandler has grown over the years, and I've been friends with him ever since. And since then, I met guys like Cody Leach, Ryan O'Toole, then Austin Putnam, and shortly after Jerome and Gary.
have Jerome and Gary ever met him?
I know Sean Chandler is in the network, but he never posts anything there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But still making content to this day, I think, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, what made you decide to make YouTube videos?
What made me decide to make YouTube videos? Probably just to put random content out there that I wanted to put out there myself, just to have another media platform to watch the things that I don't get to watch very often on stuff like VHS. One of the things I've done was I transferred over my road trips in Ontario that are on VHS on YouTube. The process of that was just outstanding to me, and it took me forever to do it. That was many, many years ago. So I just basically used that channel I created in 2007 for things like road trips and trips to Orlando, Florida.
Oh,
Hmm.
it's out to the people in Florida.
Absolutely.
Um, now what made you decide to like do the highlight reels for Gary's show?
This all started uh, just me taking small little clips of Flicks with the Dicks from the 70s and 80s episodes and just do like a 1 or 2 minute GIF or something like
Mm-hmm.
that of Gary going overboard or over the edge, flipping something over or being clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
I just done like 1 or 2 minute, clips for about a month or so, and then that turned into doing more clips per episode, which led up to doing actual highlight reels. The first highlight reel I ever done was for Flicks with the Dicks episode 86.
Hmm. And what made you decide that you wanted to do this more often for the highlight reels?
For something to do as a hobby because I enjoy working on highlight reels. One of the things that I've noticed working on them is my editing skills. It just came naturally after a while. The more practice you get with editing, the better
Mhm.
you get at it.
Would you like to tell people like the behind the scenes of your highlight reels?
Absolutely. The first step that I take is obviously this is self-explanatory. Just download the video
Mm-hmm.
from any YouTube to MP4 site. Then I put it in Windows Movie Maker, leave it there for about 20 or 30 minutes before I start doing the edits. And once I start doing the edits, I trim all the other portions down. So it's just all the shenanigans that happened. And then after that, I go over every second of it from the beginning to the end and look for things I want to speed up, slow down, Walter E. Pickleback style, or put on repeat. And then after that, I'll put in sounds like a crowd cheering or a crowd booing or anything of the nature, or a banana split. I actually found a sound effect for a banana split. So, and I have to do it in order too. I have to start from the beginning to the end to put them in. Otherwise, if I put one in close to the end and then put one in the beginning, one of them will move. I did say shenanigans, Eric. Yes, I did. Shenanigans!
And do it for Bob Saget.
Do it for Bob Saget.
Um, and how long does it usually take to make the highlight reels?
It all depends on the length of the highlight reel, plus the amount of edits there are, plus the amount of extra spices I put into it. Usually, the average time it takes me to do a highlight reel is maybe about 2.5, maybe 3 or 3.5 hours.
Oof.
Now, if the highlight reel is longer, it'll take me about 4 or 4.5 hours.
What is the longest, episode, longest, length of editing for an episode that you did?
The longest what?
Like, what is that one episode that took you the longest to make?
Oh, that's a tough question. Maybe episode 200? I would say episode 200.
Wow.
And funny story about that. I spent all night working on this on a Friday night. It was
Hmm.
uh, up like I stayed up at like 1 in the morning up until 5 in the morning
Oh
working on that
gosh,
highlight reel.
that's like almost a school day
Yeah,
or half a day of school of you doing that.
absolutely. And I love it. I enjoy it. It's my favorite. One of my favorite things to do in life right now.
People think while editing, like just to have some music on to like let me that's bored, but you told me that you don't listen to music to keep it that bored. But
Music, like I said in the beginning, I love music. It's my favorite hobby, my number one favorite hobby.
I mean, like listen to music like while editing to keep you that bored.
I will not be able to. I can't multitask. I have to just concentrate on one thing and one thing only. I just concentrate on the highlight reel.
Uh, that's why I would have done this way I could put my regular season on, but at the same time, like you gotta focus on like okay, what steps you need to do for this.
It's music is a little bit more of a distraction if I need to do something that's really tedious,
Yeah.
like for example the editing.
Hmm.
So I just concentrate on the highlight reel itself, the video.
By the way, nice to see you here, Eric and Jose in the chat.
How you doing,
Um,
guys?
what are your main interests?
My main interest, like I said, music. Wrestling is another big one. A little bit sports, but not as much as I used to. Walking. I enjoy walking outside.
Don't you use an app for that?
And that for what?
Like, on your group, like you take a picture of an app of like your
Yes. It's actually on my phone. I always take it with me, and it counts my steps.
what is it called?
It's LG. Life's good. And
Hmm.
you could set everything on there from your height, your weight, and it also has a goal of a set step that I always accomplish. I always go above and beyond. On the average day, I take about 14 to 15,000 steps.
That's pretty good.
Hmm.
Um, and uh, was all right. Tell us your um most viewed highlight reel episode that you've
You
done.
know, I actually don't know what that is.
Hmm. Let me see. Or
Now
on your main
it
channel.
could be a highlight reel where I premiered, so it might be either
Yeah.
200. Um, One of the longer ones, the ones that take like almost the entire episode that I actually do a premiere for. Usually the highlight reels that I do as a premiere get the most views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us on how you got into music, movies, and TV shows.
I'll start with music first. I started getting into
Also,
music.
wrestling too. You could do
All
that
right.
as well.
All right. So I started getting into music when I was only 2 years old. Now, my dad actually got me into music. He flicked on Elvis Presley, and apparently, I was singing along to it at 2 years old. So that's where I started listening to music. That's a long time ago. That's 34 years ago,
Hmm.
and since then, my dad always put on bands like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, all the classic rock bands that we all know and love,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much where my love for music really started, and it just grew from there, from the 90s. Anything from the 90s, music wise, is one of my favorite decades of music.
Hmm. And today's music is not everybody's favorite.
It all depends what it is. If it's modern music on the radio, the mainstream music, a lot of it is garbage. However, to me, the best music is the music today that you look for.
Yeah.
There are tons and tons and tons of music that are out there today that's really good, from the Pretty Reckless, Greta Van Fleet, Alter Bridge, Within Temptation, Epica, Nonpoint, just to name many.
There's like over trillions of music. Like,
A lot. Bullet from My Valentine, Breaking Benjamin, lots of great, great bands out there. You just have to find your niche,
yeah.
find and discover your music. To me,
Mm,
that's the best music, the ones that you discover.
agreed.
hmm
Now let's go into movies.
My love for movies, you probably uh, already knew about this, but my number one, oh, when I was going over my number one, my top 10 movies when I was a childhood, my number one was Aladdin. That's where it started
Yeah.
back in 1992. That was the first movie I ever seen at the theater, and the rest is history. I've seen countless and countless of movies, not only at the theater, but lately I've been getting into a lot of the classic movies that I need
Mm,
to see.
yeah. Um, a lot of movies like there's been a lot coming out lately. Including the Mario movie. Well, that's for next year, I think, and the Blues Cruise is coming up, and not sure what else is coming up this year, but
Now, as far as like modern movies coming out today, I don't pay too much attention to a lot of them.
Jerome
However,
Jerome is done with modern stuff, so
yeah, we could probably get into that too, but the ones I've been watching lately now are the classic movies like Back to the Future, The Wizard of Oz, the
mhm,
horror movie classics from Nosferatu, the original Dracula, the Omen, The Exorcist,
yeah,
The Shining, all the classic movies. That's what I've been more
mhm,
focusing on a lot more now.
yeah, and the Wizard of Oz you mentioned, like that is like early 1930s.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, one of the best movies of all time.
It's kind of crazy, like how I want to know, like how they made it back then with everything we had.
It's amazing what they can do, especially the time the movie came out. It's amazing what
Yeah,
they can do.
yeah. Um, Now let's go into TV shows. I know one that you love.
TV shows. My love for TV shows really, I think, started at a really, really young age when I was around 2, 3, or 4 years old. I used to watch the old shows like Sharon Lois and Bran and Fred Penner back in those days. and
Mm-hmm.
Rugrats a little bit later on. And from the 90s, probably the best show that I've ever watched is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hmm. And I think your favorite one right now is Stranger Things.
Yes, Stranger Things is my favorite, one of my favorites right now. Yeah,
And how long has this show been going on? Like, isn't it new? Like,
it's been 4 seasons, and now they're making a fifth and final one.
well, let's see how many episodes is that season.
Also, one of the things I should mention is that I'm a big Marvel and DC fan. So anything that's Marvel related, DC related, all those TV shows and movies, I'm there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you used to watch Star Wars like a long time ago.
I'm not really big on Star Wars. I'm
Yeah.
more into Star Trek though. I used to watch Star Trek The Next Generation back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um. Now, I'm always curious on like how people get into wrestling. That's why I want to ask you that.
How I got into wrestling again at a really young age when I was like only a kid, maybe not even in my teens yet, probably around 6, 7, or 8 years old. I started getting into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
My first early memory of it is a live event here in my local area where I saw a bunch of like gimmick wrestlers like The Undertaker, Doink the Clown, Bastion Booger, the 1-2-3 Kid, Adam Bomb, all those gimmick character guys. I remember all of them.
Wow.
Hmm.
What was your like favorite wrestler like at that time?
My favorite wrestler at that time, still to this day, my favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker.
Hmm. Um. Tell us about the top 10 songs of the week on your Facebook.
This
Like
all
how?
started back in 2015, back in March of 2015. Now, I really should go back to the idea of it from the 90s. What I used to do is I used to listen to American Top 40 with Casey Kasem, and I would write down the top 10 portion of it. Now, Casey Kasem had the top 40, but I always wrote the top 10 portion for a good number of years from 1996 till 1999, somewhere in the year 2000 as well. And I
Hmm.
was thinking back in early 2015, what can I do to bring that back? So I decided to do a lot of research to see what's out there currently right now, and that's pretty much how that all started. There's me discovering a lot more music than I usually do. Compile a
Hmm.
list, the top 10, put them in order, from my favorites, least favorite to the most favorite. Started back in that first week of March, and now I'm on the 397th, leading up to the 400th edition at the end of October.
And what made you like want to start collecting albums for that?
Not necessarily collecting albums, but listening to albums. I've been doing that a
Yeah.
lot. I do have a CD collection over there in my living room. I probably have around close to 100 CDs. A lot of it
Yes.
is like variety albums, albums that came out in the 90s, like Big Shiny Tunes. If anyone remembers Big Shiny Tunes, 1,000 points to you. And that was one of my favorite like variety type. It was basically from Much Music. Much Music was popular in the 90s. And
Yeah.
that was another thing too. I loved watching the Much Music countdown. It was a top 30 every Friday. I always look forward to that. Yeah.
People don't use CDs anymore.
Was that?
People don't use CDs anymore.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, and if anyone's wondering, yes, I prefer CDs over records.
Hmm. Um, how does it feel about people telling me to go to bed?
It gives me joy every single day.
Yeah, about the other day,
What did I do?
you told someone to tell me to go to bed for you.
Huh? I didn't do nothing. I did not do a darn thing. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. What's wrong, David? Cake out your tongue?
I'm thinking now.
Don't talk to me. I'm Ingy. That's right, Eric. David should go to bed.
Not happening. I have a show to do after this.
Yeah, you have a show and it's called Go to Bed.
Never happening. I
No,
wonder
I'm
who will
not.
be the. I wonder who will be the host of that. Hmm,
It'll be you.
No,
Yep, it will be you.
nope.
Yep.
Eh, one word: snow.
One word. Bongos.
What a good boy. Anyway, when you first got into the Flex chat, how did you feel about it at the time you first discovered it, and what did you expect about what the show will be like in the future?
When I discovered Flicks with the Dicks, it was on Sundays. Back when Flicks with the Dicks was on Sundays, I discovered it somewhere in the late 50s episodes. I will watch maybe like a minute or two of it. I never really gave it a time of day. I just gave it like a minute or two a time of my day. I was really more focused on my top tens at the time, which I was doing a lot on Sundays back then, back in 2018. So uh, I made my chat debut on episode 60 of Flicks with the Dicks when they had Ryan and Cody O'Toole, the O'Toole brothers, on there, the Rotten Fresh edition. I'm like, wow, this is actually the first episode I actually want to pay attention to. So I was there the entire time just watching it, and I'm like, wow, Flicks with the Dicks is actually a good show. Like, because before I never really I only give it like a minute or two and then just leave.
Hmm.
But ever since episode 60, and like after that one, I'm like, I want to watch this every week now. And
Hmm.
that's pretty much the episode that gave me love for Flicks.
And what time did it go live on Sundays? Was it 5?
It was in the evening, actually. Now, there's different time zones in, obviously Arizona
Y-
where Romy
You're
is.
you're an hour and a half. Yeah, no, forward me.
I'm an hour and a half forward than Eastern.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So in my time, it was during the evening, actually, like somewhere around, I don't know, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, somewhere around there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, what inspired you to do reaction videos of Jerome's Facebook?
What inspired me to do reactions to Jerome's videos on Facebook? Hmm. I don't actually know. I don't know what video that started with. I'm sure someone in the chat could help me out on that if Romy is there.
Mm,
Like what video I actually started to actually react to. I really don't know what it was, and I don't know actually what got me to do it. I just don't have an answer for that.
yeah. Well, you're still doing it, so.
Actually, there is somewhat of an origins with the reaction videos. The first reaction video I done within the network was a Flicks with the Dicks episode. I think that's where the influence was before I
Mm,
started doing uh, Jerome's exclusive videos that he posts on Facebook.
uh,
Yeah.
um, tell us about your Rotten or Fresh season 3 on YouTube you did with someone?
To me, this is easily one of my favorite videos I've been a part of. My experience working with Rotten Fresh was absolutely amazing. Ryan and Cody O'Toole, they ran a really, really great show. I was fortunate enough to have a match with Ren Geekness. It's up on Ryan O'Toole's channel if you want to check it out. They had a lot of great stuff. They had a great thing going, and I miss Rotten Fresh. I miss it to this day, and I want a T-shirt that's in my drawer over there.
Oh, you won one. Hmm.
hmm
Um, do you still watch that channel nowadays?
I still watch some of it, even though it's not existent anymore. Like Orion
Yeah,
didn't gonna continue it, but
yeah,
I do every now and then watch the old episodes of Ryan Refresh.
very cool. Um, what other YouTubers like back in the day that you worked with before you came to the network?
There really wasn't any. There
Hmm.
really wasn't any.
You were just doing your own thing.
I was pretty much just doing my own thing, uploading videos on my Mike Wilson channel. Now I do have another channel. It's called MRB Wrestling Reviews, where I do wrestling related content there. I
Yeah.
created that one roughly around the same time I created Mike McRock movie reviews.
Oh,
hmm
and you made a video on your wrestling channel like last year, but
I did, yeah.
I don't know what.
Basically, I was just going over how NXT ruined NXT. Now, there's a lot has changed within the WWE. You know, Hunter, the Triple H being in control, and it looks pretty good now. So my love for wrestling is kind of brought back.
And AEW.
AEW, I didn't watch a lot of it. Just the occasional special event. I watched the first 2 weeks of it on TV when it first came out, but AEW for me was just I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. I gave it some time, but not too much to form a thought if it was good or not.
And you basically um with AEW, like that is going down. Now WWE is going up, which
It seems that way now because one time the tide turned before it was AEW
hmm
pro, WWE negative. Now the tables have turned and WWE pro, AEW negative.
ever since Vince left, which is pretty suspicious that is turntabled. Right after Vince McMahon left.
I have my own suspicions why he left. I think he left because he couldn't handle the pressure anymore, and
Yeah,
I think he knew he was probably guilty. I'm not
yeah,
saying he is or not, but why else would he leave?
yeah.
hmm
But I guess you have to deal with Logan Paul now. Well,
hmm
as someone else that we don't like. Um, would you ever have? I don't think everybody will have respect for Logan Paul, even if he's in wrestling. Because after what he did a few years ago.
I remember that, but I don't know the whole details. I know that he pissed a lot of people off,
hmm Oh,
but Logan Paul, the rest of the as a wrestler, I don't mind him. I really don't mind him. He's got the skills and he's a good personality. He's got the nuclear heat going for him.
well, he's just gonna do his own thing, and if he
Yeah,
wants to do that, then good for him.
yeah.
Um, uh, what other, what television like did you watch like one time ago, like when you first started watching television?
I kind of answered that earlier. Sharon Lois and Brand, Fred Penner, Rugrats, and then later on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse.
Hmm.
Agents of Shield. That's when I started getting into the Marvel and DC shows like Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. I'm sure there's others I'm missing, and the Marvel shows like the Marvel Netflix shows like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and that was a that was abysmal. But oh, and The Punisher as well. A lot of
Hmm.
good Marvel Netflix shows came out,
So
and I heard Daredevil is returning.
you're a big Marvel fan.
Absolutely, being a Marvel fan.
Um, what other things like you wa- you like doing growing up?
One of the some other things I like to do growing up. I love playing the drums growing up.
Oh,
If you don't know, my dad is a drummer, and I'm basically self-taught. I did take some lessons as well.
hmm,
I'm basically a self-taught drummer. I've been drumming for over 30 years. I haven't touched a kit in a long time, but I always have that itch in me that I want to play again.
very cool. Um, what made you want to start the Psychopath Corner, and how did you come up with the format?
What about open mic night when it really started?
Okay.
Open mic night started. Let's see. I actually have some notes. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Let's
Hmm.
see. Let's see. Open mic nights, August. Yeah, it was around the beginning of August.
Of what year?
Okay, hang on. I might have got my facts wrong here.
Okay.
The when I met Romy and Gary on Austin's channel, that was on August 17th of 2018.
Okay.
August 30th was when I started open mic night.
Okay.
Now, I didn't know what Flix was at the time. However, the reason why I wanted to do a live show was because I reached 100 subscribers at that time.
Ah, like a milestone reward.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I've been doing them ever since. And then the episode after that, I done the Rotten or Fresh special because at that time I knew Ryan and Cody, probably Romy and Gary. I probably knew them when I started doing open mic night, but I didn't know what Flix was at the time. However, when I knew what Flix was, that was when I started. I felt like I wanted to do this a lot more, doing live streams.
Hmm. And how did the format, was made? Like, how did you come up with the format?
As for the format, it was just basically a free for all. It was just a one man show,
Hmm.
and it remained that way for 39 episodes until the 40th, where I had a few people all on Eric,
Yeah.
Ben, pretty much the Bozos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that was like Christmas. Was it Christmas? It
it was
was.
close to it.
Yeah, but that was last year, so
hmm
somewhere around there. Um, what is your favorite episode of that series of all time?
There's a couple. I love the Rotten Fresh special, especially the one before the first episode. There is a couple that I really, really pour my heart out and really, really worked on. Uh, I do believe it was. Now there were inceptions of there was open mic nights, the Rapture, and the Psychopathic Corner.
Hmm.
I Now, for the Rapture, my favorite video from that series is the all WrestleManias ranked from the worst to the best. I watched every single WrestleMania, done a lot of research on it, and I rank them all. That's actually a two-parter. As for Open Mic Night, my favorite out of that series is my top 60 Marvel movies of all time. I enjoy doing that video. As
Hmm.
for the Psychopathic Corner, it's obviously the last episode, episode 40, where I had
Yeah.
people on there.
I forgot like how long was that one? Probably 3 hours.
Yeah, it was.
I actually don't remember what happened on there, but that was a good one.
The one thing I do remember from the last episode was that I was going over my top 90 songs of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me see. Do you really think that you're Gary's twin?
I mean, just look at me. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Like, what is? I, I don't know how you felt the first time. Like, they actually think you're a twin. Like, look alike of Gary. Like,
I,
it's
th- I think it was Jerome that pointed it out that I look like Gary.
like, what was your reaction to that?
I was like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of do. And you know what? I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Mm.
Hmm.
And that's so so with the character.
There's a little bit of inspiration behind the mixed psychopath character with, the way Gary uses facial expressions and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Uh, what was it like being on Flex episode 76 and 86?
Absolutely amazing. Mike and Gary twins. Yep. Um, I really enjoyed that experience. When I first got the message from, it was one of them. It was either Romeo or Gary. One of them asked me to be on. Hey, Mike, do you want to be on Flix 76? I'm like, oh my god, they're actually asking me to be on Flix. Holy shit! And
Mm-hmm.
I took every opportunity that I got, and I went for it. I went all the way for it. I said yes.
Well, it's October. Yep, indeed.
Yep.
And like, what was it like? Like, what is your like favorite memories from that? Being on the show.
My favorite memories on the show, I think the best one was on episode 86, where Gary fell back from the chair
Oh,
like he usually does. And it was like one of the first times he ever done it. And I was fortunate enough to be on that episode with Gary when he fell back from the chair. And I was like,
uh,
that was funny. And there's also another moment in that episode where for some reason the video focused on me because we were using Google Hangouts then.
oh yeah.
But in the corner on Gary's end, Gary was just flip flopping on the bed like a flopper dopper. I don't know what in the world he was doing, but it was amazing. I couldn't help but laugh my ass off.
And as for I was just looking back. I'm like, were you more than one episode? I just want to make sure what episode it was. And on the 86, I saw the part where Gary Fowler was just like, what the heck is that? mean, it's like crazy like how they come up with these like moments.
The best moments are the ones that are unplanned.
Take a look at my channel from this year.
Exactly. Mr. 4.6 million.
Yes. And and Eric was also on that one and he was just laughing as well. Everybody was laughing.
Oh, it was amazing.
What did Gary and Jerome think of of your parents on that
Of my parents?
appearance on 76 and
Oh,
86? What did they think of it?
what did they think of it?
Yeah, of your appearance on there.
I think that'd be a good question to ask them.
Hmm. But you saw the personality, that's what matters, you know?
Well, this is what I got from Jerome. The reason why I think Gary wanted me on is was because he's Gary saw something in me, and he's like, I want to bring this guy on. So yeah.
There you go.
Hmm.
And speaking of your personality, how did how did the scary picture start?
Psycho Mike, do me a favor. That all started on episode 68 on Flicks with the Dicks. The whole thing behind that was that it was during they were doing a slideshow, Gary, or a slideshow complex. It was one of them, and the
Oh.
people just kept sending Jerome messages just to bust his nuts and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I got to get on this. So I got to find something on Google. Let's see, what can I find? Oh, here's something really creepy. I think I'll send Romy that. So I sent Romy that, and he was like, "Wah! Jeez, what the heck is that? That scared the shit out of me. I'm not putting that full screen." And Gary's reaction to it was, he saw it as well, and he was like, it was priceless. And I'm like, okay, I just scared Romy. I'm going to take the ball and run with this and do this almost every single episode. And the
Mm-hmm.
rest is history.
And Tristan decided to do it to me.
I might have put him up to
Well,
it.
good. I don't care. Uh, anyway,
As you were.
I just hope that uh, I wonder if they're watching. Yeah.
They're always watching. Big Brother's always watching, David. Even when you're going to bed.
Well, uh, what is your um
Thanks,
uh
Eric.
uh um have you ever been to wrestling events in person?
Have I been into wrestling events in person? Yes, I have, and there is a lot of them. I will list them off for you. I've been to the Rico Center in Ontario back in 2012. That was a
Hmm.
great event there. It was a non-televised event, but I saw a bunch of people like Chris Jericho, CM Punk, and Kofi Kingston. I've been to a couple of SmackDown events in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre back in
Oh.
2005 and 2006. I went to a few local events here in my area of Newfoundland, like Legend City Wrestling, Cutting Edge Wrestling, CWI back in August of 2011. And there's actually a video of that on YouTube that my friend posted because I went with my friend to that event.
That's
I've been to a couple of Impact Wrestling TNA events back in 2011 and 2012. That's pretty much it.
Have you been to other sport events, in person?
In person, I remember many years ago, I've been to a Toronto Blue Jays game, a baseball game.
And
I've
what was
also
that?
been I've also been to a couple of local hockey games as well. And some of the clips are actually on my Mike Wilson YouTube channel.
What year was the Blue Jays game that you went?
I really don't recall. It's a long time ago, a couple of decades ago.
And I just heard that Gregory went to the Joe Carter,
He was
game.
there. He was there, yeah.
If only we had cameras back in the day, I wish, it would be cool to, see a picture of that from him. But
Yep,
that's pretty amazing. I wonder if he still has the ticket from that.
probably.
Who knows? Um, Now I've noticed like in the seasons in your area, like did they
Mm.
can you explain like how seasons in your area work? Because you said like before, like summer's coming well when it's fall here. Like, can you explain that?
We have all the four seasons: spring, summer, fall, winter. However, Summer most years is not much. However, this year, 2022 summer has been really, really good.
Eh,
Um, the worst winter I've seen was a couple of years ago. We had snow that felt like it was like over 200 centimeters. The city was actually shut down due to the amount of snow we had a couple of years ago.
well,
It
so
was
this,
that bad.
so you basically, have the same like season schedule like as everybody else.
And pretty much, yeah.
I think it's just because it's in a different part of the world, like far west.
Yeah. I mean, it's always, winter in December, November, January. I remember one year when I was a kid when we had snow in June. I know, David, I know. That was a long time ago. I was a kid then, but I haven't seen snow in June ever since.
Well, good. We don't want any snow in June.
I know. No one wants to see snow in June.
Uh, well, unless if people really love snow.
I
Um,
don't know anyone that does.
but I'm gonna leave this comment here while I get
I know,
dinner.
Eric. Yeah.
I hope Jerome comes in here so he can see the great mac and cheese I'm having.
And macaroni and cheese is good.
How can anyone don't care about mac and cheese? It's ridiculous.
I have no idea.
Well, I'm having mac and cheese. This is my show. I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
Um, tell us the video games that you played back in the day, and what was your favorite gaming system?
My favorite gaming system is the Nintendo GameCube, which is just right beside me.
Oh, you still
Uh,
have it.
I still have it. Yeah, I play mostly Day of Reckoning on there. It's a wrestling game from 2005 or 2004, somewhere around there.
Does it
When it
still work?
comes, oh yeah, it still works. Sometimes I even play Crazy Taxi on there.
I have an idea. Maybe so. My birthday's Friday.
hmm
Maybe I can have you on there, and you can show us gameplay of it. I can just move your computer, face the TV, and do it that way.
I'll see if I can do that. Maybe if I get around to it. However, the games that I played back in the 90s, I always went to my at my local mall here. We have an arcade here. I used to play a lot of games like Tetris. Um, there's a game called Vendetta.
Hmm.
The Simpsons was a great game. Sunset Riders. That's like a cowboy western game. A whole bunch of games I used to play in the arcade. Oh, and Crazy Taxi. To me, I was more comfortable playing the arcade Crazy Taxi than the Nintendo GameCube game Crazy Taxi.
Hmm.
Sunset Riders, yeah, absolutely, Eric, yeah. Um, what are the games? Oh yeah, my favorite game of all time is Full Throttle, and that's a PC game from 1995, and it's a LucasArts game. Plus, one that I recommended to you, David, Star Wars Dark Forces.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Eric is a big retro video game fan.
Yeah.
What video game you want to see him play if you had to pick one for his channel? What?
Sunset Riders, seems that he mentioned it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who was your idol going up?
My idol growing up?
Mm-hmm.
That depends. For my personal life, it's obviously my parents.
Mm-hmm.
For music, probably Elvis Presley.
Hmm. And
Um,
go on.
Probably for movies, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Awesome, Eric. Awesome.
did he have a favorite baseball player of all time, like back then?
There was a few that really caught my attention. One was the big 6'10" tall pitcher by the name of Randy Johnson.
He plays for the Mariners and Arizona.
I love Joe Carter.
Mm-hmm.
There's a player called Shannon Stewart
Hmm.
that I know played for the Toronto Blue Jays. He was one of my favorites. Chuck Knobloch.
Hmm.
I love Chuck Knobloch, even though I couldn't stand the Yankees in the '90s.
They were good in the 80s. They won 0 championships in the 80s.
I'm talking about the '90s.
No, I meant the Yankees in the 80s. Like, they didn't win anything, but they won in the 90s, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, yeah. Chuck Knobloch. He was a good player. Hmm.
And I know you don't like Barry Bonds.
Yeah, only because of the whole steroid thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
do love players like Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth. The ones that the legends that came before. Uh, Number 42, I think his name is Jackie Robinson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another one, Ted Williams.
Okay. Yeah.
And can you guess who is in the Hall of Fame this year?
No, I don't.
Big Poppy. They
Big
were
Poppy.
rookies.
No. Who is that?
He is a Red Sox legend that played from 2003 to 2016. He's my favorite baseball player of all time.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, people think that he did like take steroids, like that was false accusations because there was like a little list thing like in 2003 or something, and plus he didn't know what he tested positive for. So
Yeah, the whole thing I thought was weird and sketchy. I didn't know myself. I just went by what the public said while this was going on. I
most
didn't do enough research to know that, if he was on steroids or not. I just didn't know. But I assumed that he was back then.
you know why um because the Yankees were getting most of the accusations just for PEDs, so they decided to pick on David and Manny, I believe. So
Right. Another baseball player I liked back then was a closer for the Atlanta Braves, John Rocker.
hmm,
Even though he was a bit of a hothead, always picking on the Yankees fans, I thought he was a great pitcher.
hmm, yep, that's what Eric said.
John Olerud, yeah, I love John Olerud. I remember him.
And as for the Blue Jays' best player, I think, right now is Bagwell Jr. But
Okay.
but they stink.
I don't know a lot of players that are playing now. However, the guy that recently got 700 home runs, I'm starting to know who that is.
Albert Pujols.
Albert Pujols, yeah. Yeah, John Rocker, he was crazy, Eric. Absolutely.
um, what was your reaction when you were asked to join the Bumming Bozos
I remember the day, Valentine's Day. I think that was a couple of years ago now, was it?
last year?
That was last year. I was not here at this place. I was at my dad's place when I got the call from Jordan, Uriel, you, and Ben
Hmm.
to start the which was called the Bumbling Five at the time. And
Okay.
like I said earlier, any opportunity that comes my way, I'm going to take it. I said yes right away. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I finally get to do something that I love because at the time, while this was going on, I was still doing the Rapture slash the Psychopathic Corner, and I was at the time
Starting to
I
lose
wasn't.
interest.
Yeah, I was starting to lose interest. I was starting to lose my passion for it. Uh, Doing it less and less by the week
Hmm.
really didn't help me either. And it wasn't just the film community being toxic. It was just my own personal, um, eh, problems that I had with the shows that I had, with the show that I ran.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And when I got the call as well, it's just like, really? They decided to choose me? You know what I'm
I
saying?
know. It just felt surreal. It almost thought it was like a dream, and I'm like, heck yeah, I'm taking it. I'm taking that opportunity. Every Saturday? All right, let's do it.
Like, I don't expect anybody for to ask me to join. So now it's just like, really?
Yeah, I know.
It's like a weird feeling of like, why did they choose me? You know?
I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine.
Hmm. What is your favorite Bofos and Bozos episode of all time?
My favorite Bofus episode of all time?
And Bozos.
I'll start with the Bofus on the sofas.
Last, uh, yesterday?
mm, I will let that episode simmer. Probably episode 200. I would go with that and
Oh.
188 and 199 as well. But I think my favorite one of all time is definitely 200 because Austin, there's a lot of stuff that happened on that episode.
Hmm.
Austin eating peanut butter, Romy smashing that dirty grandpa DVD, the the Bean Boozled challenge, Gary raging reading that book and actually tore the
Yes.
book in half. There is a lot of stuff happened on 200. I love every second of it. That's my favorite one of all time. As for the Bumbling Bozos, hmm, either episode 20, 25, 26, episode 50 is my favorite of all time.
Yeah. Episode 50 was great.
Yep, that's
Episode
definitely my favorite of all time.
Episode 51 was good as well.
51 was a good follow up, but
Hmm.
episode 50 was like as Barbaro said, it was our magnum opus. It's the
Hmm.
best one.
Yeah. Um. And as for me,
Hmm.
honestly, it'll have to be when the whole Barney thing like started because like
Yeah,
that started a trend.
that did, yeah. There was a lot of good, like bumbling bozos gags.
Hmm.
that happened over the course of the 51 episodes that we had.
And
Especially telling you to go to bed.
no comment.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. It's my job. Okay, it's my job. Um, yes, it's my job. Um,
Whatever you say.
um, when I'm doing my show after this, I don't have. I hope I don't see those three words. Um,
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
um, and I know your dad is a fan of the show.
Yeah, he watches it every now and then, yeah. The Bumbling Bozos. We
Hmm.
actually recently just watched the entire episode of episode 50.
And his thoughts.
Yeah, it was yeah, fun episode, definitely. Because he got a good laugh out of it.
Um, favorite video of all time you've done that is not podcasting.
My favorite video of my favorite video that I've done of all time that's not podcasting.
Hmm.
So that doesn't include any psychopathic corner or the
Nope,
rapture or nothing like that.
nope. That you've been a part of.
Can I kind of flicks with the dicks?
Well, that's both of us, but
Probably
um,
Rotten or Fresh. If anything, it's the Rotten or Fresh match I had with Ren back in
okay.
2018.
Well, good. Houston is losing 7-3. I like that. Anyway, if there's one thing that you're proud of, about your YouTube career, well, not career, but YouTube experience, what would it be?
Can you repeat that question again?
What is that one thing that you're proud of about your YouTube experience and in the network community?
One thing I'm proud of: getting to be on Flicks with the Dicks twice.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm proud of the most.
And he actually helped that show ever since.
Yeah.
Um, haven't now you kind of already answered this with Florida, but what other places outside of Canada that you travel to, like in the US?
Now I've been to Orlando, Florida, several times in the past.
Mhm.
Besides that, I've been to the Dominican Republic. I do not like it there. I got sick there, and
Oof.
I'm never going back there ever again. Um, I probably passed through some states, just to get to Florida, but that's it.
Mm. Yeah, baseball is known from the Dominican Republic, and that country is is tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, very,
What is
very poor country. Yeah.
yeah? Um, I feel more questions here left to go. What is your dream job?
My dream job. Oof. I always wanted to be a radio personality on a radio station.
Hmm.
Even back in the 90s when I was really really actively listening to the radio, I always wanted to do that. Plus the radio personalities that I listen to now, like the Biggs and Bar Show, um, the CJ92 with Ashley. I enjoy listening to the two of those people. I always wanted to be like a part of that in that, and I also want to add that I've been into the 97.7 radio station in St. Catharines and I met Siobhan Woodrow. She was one of the radio personalities that worked for that station, and I got a picture with her.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, what will you do at the radio station? Like, as for being, like, is it for like just doing your own Q&A music show, or
No, it's basically just host the show and play the music, promote things, uh, prizes to be won. Actually, give out prizes, contests.
yeah?
Yeah.
Um, have you ever been to any music bands in person?
Yes. Back in close to almost 10 years ago now, I've been to a live concert featuring Nonpoint and Seven Dusts, two of my
Oh, hello
favorite
there,
bands of all
Kyle.
time. Hey, Kyle.
That's pretty good. And
Back in 2019, before COVID hit, I went to see Within Temptation, another one of my favorite bands of all time.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, um, besides YouTube,
hmm
what is the most proud thing that you have accomplished in your life outside of the internet?
Probably graduating college. I my college life started in 2007 and ended in 2009. Records information management was my thing at the time. Graduated with a diploma and scholarship. Probably the best thing that was probably the best thing I've ever accomplished in my life was graduating
Yeah.
college.
Mm-hmm.
Also, high school back in 2004. I was proud of that accomplishment as well.
When I was one.
Yeah.
Um, or actually not even one, because 2004 graduate school in the summer, so not even
hmm
one.
Yeah.
Um, and as for me, well, for college, I don't plan on doing it because that is expensive, especially
Yes.
especially with all the inflations right now.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, and I know people say they will regret college and all that. So, there's people that dropped out of college, and you know, that one, I just want to get a job and just go from there.
As,
Um,
as long as you have your high school, you can go anywhere.
yep. I don't know
Yeah.
why people will want to have their college, but you know,
hmm
um, uh, let me see. Um, what do you have planned for your YouTube channel in the future?
For any of my YouTube channels, I really have nothing planned. I do have stuff I do want to plan, but for the Bumbling Bozos.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the big thing right now is working on all of the DC movies ranked from my least favorite to my most favorite. That'll be on a future episode of the Bumbling Bozos, close to when the year's over. Maybe the episode before the Bozy Awards. That might happen there.
When we first did the Bozos Awards, what was your reaction to that?
The Bozy Awards from last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, like when you first came up with the idea, like what was your reaction on that?
Now, this actually wasn't my idea. I do believe it was Ben's idea,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken. It was either Ben or Barbros. Someone came up with the idea. It was not me at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that, doing awards at the end of the year. Perfect.
But continuing the transition that Flex is, well, I don't think Flex or both was ever done one. It's just mostly the channel itself.
Yeah, it's mostly like within the network.
Hmm. So I guess we're the first one to do an actual awards on the show.
I think
But
Gary might have done one. I'm not sure.
hmm, um, speaking of, have you seen the episodes of Flicks from Vegas?
From what?
When they went to Vegas.
I watched little bits and pieces of it. It looked really good. It looked really. I like that the fact that it was a lot different from a usual Fix episode. Actually, going out of their comfort zone, doing an episode in Vegas. I only saw like maybe 10 or 15 minutes of it, just skimming through it, but it looked really good. One day I'll watch the whole thing. I mean, Flicks with the Dicks. To me, that was the glory days of the network. And then Bozos came along and just revamped it everything.
Yeah. The Rosie Wars is also a good idea to give people recognition.
Yes, absolutely. Recognize people. That's what we do on the Bozy Awards.
And even on this one as well. I mean,
Yeah,
my job is to um, you know, have the quality of the show be good, have and also make people have a better day, and just a choice of content. With everything going on in the world, and there are three things. The camera, the person you're talking with, and also the audience. And
absolutely.
that's what Bob Barker used to say when back then. And you know when I do shows, I do this for fun because this is not my
Acknowledge me. Hey, Tyler Calvert.
Mr. Calvert. Don't mention that bed. Um, um. So yeah, I do these for fun because this is not my main job. I just do this because I want to get to 1,000 subscribers.
That's
And
a big milestone. I hope
yeah,
you get there.
and right now I have is 819 subscribers. So
Hmm.
I'm almost halfway there, and that's why I also want to do this. Well, there's two reasons why I want to do this birthday week for this show. Because for one, is to get the content up for to get that 1,000 subscriber mark, and two, I want to do one episode 100 like at the beginning of next year somehow. Um,
Race car bed. Vroom, vroom. You got to put some hydraulics on the bed.
um, but if people continue to come in the chat, every time I go live, that's why I send the link out to people. Um, then that can help my analytics for this channel because I want to get that 1,000 subscriber mark. After that, I'll feel accomplished. I don't need 1,000 subs because that'll take forever and ever and ever. Um,
Yay, 1,000.
Gary, is that you? Oh wait, you are Gary.
I'm his evil older twin.
Pretty much. I wonder what Tyler thinks of your scary faces. Uh, what's this?
Will you stop?
uh,
You want to know something?
hmm?
I should add this. Roughly around the same time I met Romy and Gary, like before I actually met them in person, you know who
What?
was there on my first episode of Open Mic Night? It was Tyler Calvert.
Well, holy crap!
Yeah.
I will get him on here, but I don't know if he will because that's actually crazy, and he's on this interview. Chat.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, how you doing?
Um, and what you meant by in person, like on the stream itself, right?
No, he was in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was Tyler Calvert, and maybe a couple of other people were there in the chat on my first episode of Open Mic Night. I'll never forget that as long as I live.
And Tyler has been around since. Not sure.
I'm not sure exactly, but Tyler was like the first person I met in the network.
And what a crazy question is that he's also on here in the chat
Yeah.
for this. So there you go. Um, what would you like to see from the prominent Bozos in the future?
I'd like to see more episodes. The more episodes, the better.
The better.
The better. Basically, just do what we basically do what we do, how we know to do it, the best we know how.
What would you like to see accomplished from this show as well? 0,000.
David, I'm going to say this to you. You keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you love.
Mm-hmm.
I think you, man, you got the passion. You got the desire for this. I noticed that you love doing interviews.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely. I want to talk to everyone right now in the chat.
Hello,
Hashtag
Devin.
David's year.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like
Hashtag David's year.
my graduation year. I mean, yes, this year may be tough for other people we know, but if I have to say about this year, I feel accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you to you too. Um, do you have any advice for those who want to do their own show and videos?
My advice is probably the same advice a lot of people will tell you. Be entertaining, have content prepared. Um, just do you. Just be yourself.
Hmm.
If you're just a one person show, uh, maybe you might want to limit. Well, depending if your voice goes like me. Um, David is a man of the future. Absolutely, yeah. Uh,
Yes.
if you have like a voice, kind of like me, where you don't want to talk too much, you might want to limit your shows to maybe 30 minutes or something, just as a start. Do a few, maybe do two, three, maybe 3 to 4 topics.
Hmm.
You know, just start it off and see how it works for you. However, if you do a show with multiple people, say for example, Flix or Bofas,
Or more for my my Sunday stream.
yeah. Make sure the chemistry is there
Hmm.
between hosts. And also the chat is very important. If you have an
Yeah.
audience, interact with the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because that's how they can keep coming back and
Yep.
support back.
Absolutely.
And for those who
Also ignore the trolls.
that's why we have moderators.
Yeah.
And or also if you want to do your own show, like it could be like Eric who does like one main topic with notes of his favorite things, his interests.
Yeah.
Um and also you could just do your own gameplay videos or just live streams. Just make sure that you don't do the same videos over and over. I think that's one advice I could give you.
Thank you, Eric. Words of wisdom.
Yep. Um as I was saying, like make sure you don't do the same videos over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's another good piece of advice too. Yeah.
Don't do like the same reaction videos, the same shows every week. Like just be creative and be yourself because
That's that's another good piece of advice is be creative, be original, be unique, be you, but you also want to stand out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And make sure like your live chat has no problems. Make sure
Yep.
um that your channel is clean and fun for everybody because
Yeah.
fun is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Look at the past streams from this past month
Yeah.
that I've done. So um I couldn't go live this past week because I was sick. But look at
Hmm.
the past month of streams I've done. You see how many people were in the live chat. They may not come, every show, but that's what I don't care about. I care about the quality of the show and the quality of the live chat, and also the quality of the stream. Because if the stream goes very well, and the quality and everybody on there just having fun in general, that's all that matters to me, and good feedback.
Also, another piece of advice, and this goes to life in general. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, you're not going to please everyone. You can only please so many people all at once.
Agreed.
Yeah,
And the main important thing about life as well is just be yourself.
exactly. Be yourself and hey, Pizzle, yeah, be yourself and do what you can to make yourself stand out from the rest of the crowd. You don't want to act like someone else. You're not yourself.
Yeah.
Alex
Ow.
is telling you to go to
Jeez.
bed. Oh, jeez. I thought Gary was a clumsy one, man. You just hit your head. You all right over there?
No, I'm not.
David, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Be quiet.
I will never be quiet as long as I live. That is what you
I
get,
want to go.
David.
I want to go to Canada right now because so I can do my job. I
And
want. I want to be chosen at a video game after that Sunday. I want to be. I want to tell everybody person over there to go to bed. That's my job.
that is what you get, David. That is what you get. That is what you get.
I hope Trust is watching. Another good one.
Also, be careful with your words. That's another really good piece of advice too. Yeah.
And think before you speak.
Yes. We all know about that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Um. But that's gonna be it for this episode of Chilling3000, episode 79. One more away for episode 80, then 20 episodes after. Will be the big 100, but that won't happen until 2023. What will happen for the 100th episode? I'm still looking for suggestions, but only time will tell. So honestly, I'm still like wondering like what's gonna be like for that one, but who knows? I will try to think of something special. In the final words. The heck is that noise?
Uh-oh.
Fire alarm?
That's my watch over there.
How is that making that notable noise?
I always have that set at 8 p.m.
Why?
because it's fun.
But it's gotta be a reason.
I done that on purpose just to drive you nuts.
There's gotta be another reason.
So what you gotta say about that?
Go to bed. I'm getting out of here. See ya.